The Cavendish, the world's banana, for now. Walk into any supermarket in North America, Europe, or Australia, and the banana you'll find is almost certainly the Cavendish. It is the dominant commercial banana of the modern era, accounting for roughly half of all bananas grown worldwide and the overwhelming majority of those traded internationally. But its position at the top of the global fruit market is more recent and more fragile than most people realize. The Cavendish only became the world's primary commercial banana in the 1950s, after a devastating fungal disease wiped out its predecessor. Before that, a different variety ruled the market. What makes the Cavendish unusual, and what makes it commercially successful, is that it produces no seeds and cannot reproduce on its own. Every Cavendish banana in existence is grown through cloning, meaning farmers take offshoots from existing plants and cultivate them into new ones. This approach makes mass production efficient and consistent, but it carries a profound biological risk. Because every plant is genetically identical, a pathogen that can infect one plant can infect all of them, with nothing in the population capable of resisting it. In terms of flavor and texture, the Cavendish is reliable rather than remarkable. When green, the fruit is firm and starchy, suitable for cooking in some traditions. As it ripens and the skin transitions to yellow, the starch converts to sugar, the texture softens, and the flavor becomes mild and sweetly pleasant. It is not a complex or especially aromatic banana. Its appeal is consistency. It tastes the same whether you buy it in Tokyo, Toronto, or Toulouse. That predictability, combined with its thick enough skin to survive international shipping, is what made it commercially dominant. The Gros Michel, the banana that came before. To understand why the Cavendish exists at all, you have to know the story of the Gros Michel, whose name is French for Big Michael. This was the world's dominant commercial banana from the mid-1800s until it was effectively wiped out in the late 1950s. By most historical accounts, it was superior to the Cavendish in nearly every way that matters to the person eating it. It was larger, more richly flavored, creamier in texture, and more powerfully aromatic. Its skin was thicker and tougher, making it exceptionally durable for shipping, which was part of why it became commercially dominant in the first place. People who were alive during the era of the Gros Michel and have since eaten the Cavendish consistently describe the older variety as significantly tastier. The sweetness was deeper and more complex, the aroma more intoxicating, and the overall eating experience more satisfying. It wasn't simply a banana, it was, by the standards of the fruit world, something genuinely excellent. The Fusarium fungus, which causes Panama disease, destroyed it. Because virtually all commercial Gros Michel plants were genetically identical clones, the same vulnerability that now threatens the Cavendish, the disease swept through plantations with nothing to stop it. By the early 1960s, commercial cultivation had effectively ended. The Gros Michel is not entirely extinct. Small quantities are still grown today in isolated pockets of uninfected soil in Thailand and parts of South America, cultivated by small-scale farmers who value both its historical significance and its extraordinary flavor. But as a commercial entity, it is gone, a cautionary tale about the dangers of building a global food system on a single genetic template. Pisang Raja, the king of Southeast Asian bananas. The name translates from Malay as King Banana, and in much of Southeast Asia, it holds that status without question. Pisang Raja is the preferred banana variety across Indonesia and Malaysia, and eating one for the first time makes it immediately obvious why. The fruit is shorter and plumper than a Cavendish, with a thicker skin that turns yellow with a warm orange blush at full ripeness. The flesh inside is deep golden yellow and the flavor is in an entirely different category from what most Western consumers associate with bananas. Pisang Raja is noticeably sweeter and far more aromatic, with a honeyed richness that makes the Cavendish seem bland and one-dimensional by comparison. The texture is dense and creamy, closer in consistency to a ripe mango or a very soft pear than to the standard supermarket banana. It is the kind of fruit that changes your expectations of what a banana can taste like. It is also the banana traditionally used in goreng pisang, the banana fritters that are one of the most beloved and ubiquitous street foods across Indonesia and Malaysia. The natural density and sweetness of the flesh hold up beautifully to frying, caramelizing at the edges without dissolving into mush. You can find these fritters at market stalls and roadside carts throughout the region, freshly fried and served hot, and they represent one of the great simple pleasures of Southeast Asian street food culture. Despite its obvious qualities, Pisang Raja has never made it onto the international market in any significant way. It bruises easily, has a relatively short shelf life after harvest, and simply cannot survive the long refrigerated shipping chains that made the Cavendish commercially dominant. Like many of the world's best local fruits, its excellence is inseparable from its proximity. It is best eaten close to where it grows. Blue Java, the ice cream banana. The Blue Java banana earned its more evocative nickname honestly. Before it ripens, the fruit has a distinctive blue-green, almost silvery tint produced by a natural waxy coating on the skin. As it ripens, that color fades to a pale, creamy yellow. But it is not the appearance that makes the Blue Java remarkable, it is the texture. The flesh is extraordinarily smooth and creamy, soft enough that eating one is genuinely comparable to eating melting ice cream or a very rich custard. The flavor is lightly sweet and distinctly floral, with an unmistakable vanilla quality that makes it taste more like a carefully crafted dessert than a piece of fruit. Native to Southeast Asia and possibly originating in the Philippines or Indonesia, the Blue Java spread throughout the Pacific Islands, where it became a staple in Hawaiian and Filipino home cooking. One of its practical advantages is cold tolerance. It can handle temperatures that would stress or damage a Cavendish, which has made it viable in subtropical regions where most banana varieties struggle. The reason it never appears in commercial supermarkets is simple. Its soft, delicate flesh makes it essentially impossible to ship at scale without turning into a bruised, unappetizing mess. The Blue Java must be eaten close to where it grows, which is part of what makes encountering one feel like a genuine discovery. Red banana, berry notes in tropical form. Red bananas, sometimes called red Dhaka, are cultivated across East Africa, South and Southeast Asia, and throughout the Americas, yet they remain relatively unfamiliar to most consumers in the Western world. The immediately obvious difference is visual. The skin is a deep wine red to maroon color that persists all the way through ripeness, rather than transitioning to yellow. The flesh inside is cream to pale yellow, occasionally with a faint pinkish hue. The flavor is where the real surprise lies. Red bananas are noticeably sweeter than a standard Cavendish, but their sweetness carries a distinct berry-like quality, sometimes described as carrying a subtle hint of raspberry. The texture is denser and creamier. People who try a red banana for the first time are often genuinely startled by how different the flavor profile is from what they expected. They also offer a nutritional advantage, containing more vitamin C and beta-carotene than standard yellow bananas. Red bananas are a staple of East African cuisine, where they appear in cooked dishes alongside plantains and cooking bananas. In the Philippines, they're used in churan, a beloved dessert in which the banana is wrapped in spring roll pastry with brown sugar, sometimes alongside jackfruit, and fried until the outside is caramelized and crackling. They ripen more slowly than Cavendish bananas, their thick skin provides reasonable protection during transport, and many markets consider them a premium product, something a little special rather than an everyday commodity. Ladyfinger, small, sweet, and exceptionally delicate. The ladyfinger banana, also called the sugar banana, originates from Malaysia and Indonesia and is one of the sweetest banana varieties in existence. At just 4 to 5 inches long and notably narrow, it is considerably smaller than a Cavendish. The skin is very thin and turns bright yellow at full ripeness. The flesh is smooth and light, and the sweetness is intense, syrupy and concentrated, with a faintly floral quality and almost none of the starchiness that characterizes slightly underripe commercial bananas. Because of their small size, thin peel, and exceptional sweetness, ladyfingers are frequently offered to children as a first banana experience and are popular on fruit platters and in yogurt. In Southeast Asia and Australia, they appear regularly in local markets. The same thinness of skin that makes them so pleasant to eat also makes them fragile, and the plants themselves require consistent humidity and stable tropical conditions, both of which contribute to their limited international presence. Manzano, the apple banana. The manzano banana, widely known as the apple banana, is native to Central and South America and is a common presence in Mexican, Central American, and Caribbean markets. Short and chunky with pale yellow skin, the The Manzano has one characteristic that confuses Western consumers accustomed to Cavendish bananas. Its skin turns fully black when the fruit is at its best. A deeply blackened Manzano is not overripe, it is at peak sweetness and flavor. The flesh inside remains firm, cream-white, and slightly dense even when the exterior looks alarmingly dark. The flavor is what justifies the apple banana name. There is a distinct tanginess to a Manzano, a bright, slightly citrusy acidity that can call to mind apples or even strawberries. That tartness balances the sweetness and gives it a complexity that supermarket bananas lack. The firmer texture holds up well to cooking, and fried Manzanos are a common preparation across Central America. The rapid blackening of the skin has made it a difficult sell in supermarkets where consumers equate appearance with quality, which is why it remains primarily a local and farmers market fruit outside its native region. Plantain, the banana that feeds the world. Plantains occupy a unique and vital position in global food systems. Technically a cooking banana rather than a dessert fruit, the plantain is larger, starchier, and less sweet than eating bananas, and in vast swaths of West Africa, the Caribbean, and Central America, it functions more like a potato or yam than like the fruit most people picture when they think of bananas. It is a dietary staple, a source of daily calories, and a central ingredient in hundreds of traditional recipes. The ripeness of a plantain determines everything about how it is used. Green plantains are starchy and firm, ideal for frying into crispy tostones, boiling and mashing, or incorporating into savory stews. As the skin progresses through yellow to black, the starch converts to sugar and the flesh becomes soft and sweet, at which point the banana is sliced and fried until golden and caramelized, a preparation that pairs beautifully with rice, beans, and meat throughout the Caribbean and Latin America. The scale of plantain cultivation and consumption is staggering. Most bananas grown globally are actually plantains, and they provide food security for tens of millions of people across Africa alone. In Uganda, a group of plantain cultivars called matuk is so central to the national diet that the word itself means both plantain and food in the Luganda language. Plantains are believed to have originated in Southeast Asia and spread westward through ancient trade routes, eventually reaching West Africa and later the Americas through the disruptions of the colonial era. Goldfinger, the banana engineered for survival. Developed in 1988 by the Honduran Agricultural Research Foundation, Goldfinger was designed from the ground up as a disease-resistant alternative to the Cavendish. It carries 4 sets of chromosomes, which makes it unusually robust, resistant to the Panama disease fungus, tolerant of cold, and capable of growing without the heavy chemical inputs that conventional banana farming requires. The flavor is genuinely interesting. When slightly underripe, Goldfinger has a bright tartness reminiscent of apples, a citrusy, lively quality that sets it apart from most banana varieties. As it ripens fully, that tartness softens into a sweeter, more conventional banana flavor. It can be eaten at multiple stages of ripeness and behaves quite differently at each one, which is an unusual characteristic for a banana. It handles cooking well, holding its texture when fried or baked. Goldfinger has been tested commercially in Europe, Australia, and parts of the Americas with mixed results from consumers accustomed to the uniformity of the Cavendish. But as the threat from tropical race 4 intensifies, interest in disease-resistant varieties like Goldfinger continues to grow. It represents one of the more hopeful answers to the question of what comes after the Cavendish. Fi, the orange-fleshed banana of the Pacific. The Fi banana is remarkable for its biology, its appearance, and its nutritional history. Unlike virtually every other cultivated banana, Fi fruit grows pointing upward rather than hanging downward. The skin is orange to deep scarlet and the flesh inside is a vivid orange, the result of exceptionally high beta-carotene content. Genetically, Fi descends from a different wild ancestor than most cultivated bananas, making it a genuinely separate branch of the banana family tree, native to Melanesia and the Pacific Islands, particularly Papua New Guinea and Tahiti. The nutritional significance of that orange flesh is well documented. In Pacific Island communities where Fi was traditionally consumed, rates of vitamin A deficiency were meaningfully lower than in communities that abandoned the variety. It is primarily a cooking banana, starchy and dense, prepared by boiling, roasting, or steaming, with an earthy, mildly sweet flavor when cooked. The plant also produces a vivid purple sap that communities historically used as a dye for both cloth and tattoos, adding a further dimension to its cultural importance well beyond its role as food. The world of bananas, taken as a whole, is a study in contrasts, between the commercially dominant and the locally beloved, between the genetically vulnerable and the biologically resilient, between the familiar and the extraordinary. What the global market offers is a narrow slice of something far richer, and every variety that exists outside a supermarket shelf is a reminder of how much flavor, history, and agricultural ingenuity the standard banana aisle leaves unexplored.